Shalom. Kol halal Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakah HaKodash. Double honors into the apostles, double honors into the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so. Now more so than ever, the would-be judges, the 144,000, and the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners among the heathen nations, that have the appearance of the heathen nations. This is not a black only thing. The Israelites are scattered among all people. And to the few Akwath that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone, coming at you with another lesson in truth. And I just want to bring out a quick scripture before I go into this. Most of the clips in this video, I've used quite a few of them already. And it's clear and apparent that we're living in the last moments of the last days, and the last prophecies are coming out. And these things that you're seeing, you've been warned by the prophets of the Lord, which are men. This is Amos 3:7. Surely the Lord power will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophets. So you're going to get the messages from the Lord, not from theology school, not from missionary schools, not from churches, not from pastors. You're going to get the message from the Lord, from his men, the prophets. And primarily those are the men of the Great Millstone and the brothers that teach the life-wise doctrine. Point blank period. That's the brutal, inconvenient truth to some of you. It's not going to come from women. You know, there's a lot of women out there. They're just regurgitating what they've heard from men. And I saw a video yesterday was, it's a sister talking about the God gene or whatever, and the 144,000 and the atmosphere is changing, planes falling out the skies, all the stuff she talked about. But some of the things she was saying was true, but that was all men. The flock of the Lord's pasture is with men. He set up men to do this, and it's going to be men that are going to get those God-like powers, not women. So she spoke some truth. But this is Ezekiel 34 and 31. And it reads, and yeah, my flock, the flock of my pastor, are men, and I am your power, saith the Lord power. All right. So once again, it's those prophets, those men here on earth who come with the message of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Okay. It is them. Matter of fact, let me go to Ezekiel 36 and 38 real quick, and then I'm going to jump into this lesson. Yeah, this is Ezekiel 36:37. Thus saith the Lord power, I will yet for this be inquired of by the house of Israel, to do for them, to do it for them. I will increase them, the men like a flock, and as a holy flock, as a flock of Jerusalem, as a solemn feast, so shall they waste the cities. So shall the waste cities be filled with flocks of men, and they shall know that I am Yahweh. So this is all about the 144,000, the 12,000 men from each of the 12 tribes. That does not include women. All right, that's not the role of women in Israel. That is with men. All right. So, as we get into this lesson, we get dangerously close to these days. That's why Jake has been hunted and being hunted. That's why Jake is divided. While they separated the northern kingdom, they try to keep the separation between the northern and the southern kingdom. All right, the southern kingdom being, the Negroes, the West Indies, the so-called Negroes in the West Indies and things of that nature. You got to remember, and when you go to the Indies and when you get to the Caribbean, how the island of Haiti and the Dominican Republic are one island, right? And they dwelled in this, and the only difference between them is that, then they're all dark for the most part, and the only difference between them is the language, because they were both conquered by Edomites. One by French-speaking Edomites, the other by Spanish-speaking Edomites. And the ones who were conquered by the French stood up and fought for themselves, and as a result of that, they've been treated a lot worse, which made the Spanish-speaking ones want to try and disconnect from them. But they're literally the same people, man. Two different tribes, same people. All right. The tribe of Levi and the tribe of Simeon, which is even described in Genesis, the 49th chapter. They're dwelling together with how does it word it, with devices of cruelty, that being that Santeria and the voodoo, all right, which is pretty much the same thing. But you can't get around these curses, and the beauty of it is that the curses that befell Israel as a tribe, as all 12 tribes, are now beginning to fall on their captors and their stronghold. This video is labeled, "It's over for everybody." All right. And then it's got a flag and put there. But on mine it had actually a flag there. And it says coming down with great wrath. So wrath is coming down upon America. So without any further ado, I'm going to play, a good portion of this video. It's a little less than about 8.5 minutes long. But I'm going to play this, and then through the Spirit, I'm going to bring out some scriptures and a couple articles. So I won't play the whole thing, but I'll play a portion of it. So here we go. Lock in.
America, the fun and games is over. Now this is a really hard video for me to make, but we've gone beyond now Trump this, MAGA that, Republican this, Biden that, left, right, Republican, Democrat, whatever. Shit's about to get real.
America's going to be the poorest country in the world starting now. You're going to see the biggest crashes happening right now. So that's good for me because the price of gold and silver go up.
That's interesting because most people in India until the last decade have been migrating to the US, thinking that is where is the land of opportunity to pursue the great American dream. But
so real quick, 2 scriptures. This is Jeremiah 51:9. "We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go everyone into his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto the heaven and is lifted up to the sky." So that's the perfect scripture for the 2 comments that was made by Robert Kiyosaki and by this, the Ammonite, and by this Elamite who's interviewing him about people going back to their own countries because they can see that it's over. They came and they got what they can from it, and so a lot of the heathen are going back to their own country, which are going to later be put into captivity once the Israelites get lifted up, get that power, and come back down off the chariots. Because the only way to survive this apocalyptic situation that's coming with the third woe and with the return of the Lord is if you are blessed with being one of those individuals, of one of the 1/3. That's what we're looking for, which is made up of men, women, and children of the Israelites only that are here in America who will get those new bodies. And they will, and because you can't go up onto those chariots, those vehicles that they were putting all over the news just a couple months ago that they just kind of stopped showing all of a sudden. Those things that can change, they can actually go past the Van Allen belt. They can go in and out of the atmosphere as man can't, which has been proven. So that means the space travel to the moon, their history is fabricated, just like almost the rest of the history here in America. But these things can actually go in and out, past the firmament, and they can change shape, change colors, disappear, reappear. You need those new bodies to be on those things when, point blank period.
Over the last 2 years, we've seen an increasing number of people coming back in droves back to India because that's where they're seeing the opportunity. So that is a very interesting shift that I never thought would happen so quickly.
To those who stand in solidarity, America is in trouble. And dare I say it, America is done. Look, what do you call it, the breakaway civilization?
Breakaway civilization was a term made famous by Richard Dolan, and it simply described a decision to create a parallel system. First it started with the black budget, but it grew, call it the national security state, but to build a civilization that literally was separate and not subject to the laws of the existing one. So if I'm running a company and I want to bring up new systems, I'll bring up the new systems while I'm running the old, and I'll run them in parallel, and I'll move things over slowly, and then at some point I bring the current thing down. And to me,
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they're trying to do. That's why they're trying to override and get around the Constitution. And I've been saying in my lessons and on street teaching for the last 5-6 years that the two things that are in the way of this new order, of this NWO, this new world order, this new world government that they're trying to make with with the WEF and Schwab and all these other people, the Constitution is in the way. All right. And then you got constitutionalists in here in America. This is how you know that you're going to eventually have a civil war, because you got patriots in America that want to keep the Constitution in place, which keeps the government from using all these parallel treaties that actually break the law of the land in order to enforce them, like all the things that happened with the C-19er and, Title 4D child support and so many other things that they do, which actually trample upon the civil rights of American citizens, of getting rid of due process, the attack of the, anti-semantics and basically the destruction of free speech and having an opinion. Just because you don't agree with something and you speak against something, that doesn't mean that you're a threat to the safety of the country, because you're a patriot and you believe in the system that was supposedly set up for the people, and you see something that's threatening it or not hurt, like for sending money to a certain place that just keeps nonstop perpetual wars going, and yet you need money to fix your own schools, your own roads, and build factories and things in your country, but you can never do that because billions and trillions of dollars keeps going to these countries, these foreign countries that have lobbyists in your country. All right. So when you speak about these sort of truths, you get labeled, a dissenter or the T word, or you get labeled with the anti-semantics things, because you're in the way of them building this parallel control system over the system that is in place, as the lady just said moments before. All right.
If I'm crying, I don't fucking care. America, we're struggling, man. We're dying every fucking day, bro. We got to hear about another friend that blew his fucking head off.
Yeah, these Edomites are catching it bad, man. This is Jeremiah 51:7. So you Jakes out there that's struggling, man, just know the Esau is catching it bad. All right? They are catching it bad, man. The curses are now falling upon them. This is what is it, Deuteronomy 30:7? Believe, I think. Yep. And the Lord thy power will put these curses upon thy enemies and on them that hate thee and which persecute thee. And I've been praying for this, for the Lord to let me see, even if I don't make it to Baba Kishah, Lord, at least allow me to live long enough to see the fall of my enemy. And the Wadi Hal Bashim Awashai, I'm witnessing the fall of my enemy every day. Every day. And it's the small ones like this guy. I want to see the ones in power. And I'm talking about the ones that are wearing the suit and ties with the bald faces that, that do the adrenochrome and all the pedo stuff and that are living large. And guess what? It's starting to happen to them as well. All right. But I can't, I'm looking so forward to the day where they can't hide it anymore, where they're forced to admit the truth that we are the people of the Lord. And there's so many of them doing it, but I'm talking about in high places where the mainstream media is forced to admit the fraud that comes out of the land of Israel, and that they're not the people, and et cetera, et cetera. When it gets so bad that they can't, keep just putting that lie out there, which can be so easily disproved, but just because it's on mainstream media, people, still want to believe it or have hope in that lie. But keep having hope in that lie, it's going to make you end up like his friends.
Another friend that fucking overdosed. Another friend that fucking did something stupid. Another friend that fucking... Everyone fucking hates you. We're very lonely, America. This is from a veteran. We're fucking dying.
I believe I'm at the end of my rope. I think I'm done. Yeah, I try to stay positive, but you can only put on a smile for so long before it becomes fake. With everything going on, the housing, the homeless shelter, finding out my van now has, I think, the engine season up on it, and one of the...
All right, look, I've been a Trump supporter since 2015, all right? And I can't do it anymore. I've been thinking a lot lately, and I'm just kind of realizing.
We have breaking news right now. The Trump administration is considering sending migrants with criminal.
So let's go back. We'll leave that there. So let you really just stop, pause, and reflect. All right. Let's go to this article now. All right, there's so many. I think there was just the other day, the day before yesterday, I think, a whole UPS plant shut down. 20,000 people lost their jobs. All right. Well, here's an article from Newsbreak. Over 2,500 stores in the U.S. are closing in a retail bloodbath. Sources, Men's Journal. So this is out of the Men's Journal. 2,500 stores. You figure each store has at least, well, let's just read about it. And subways are shutting down all over the place too, by the way. But it says, more than 2,500 stores from beloved retail chains are closing for good in the United States. The massive list of stores led one publication to label it a retail bloodbath. Business Insider tallied the numbers of stores closures, putting it around 2,500, and the trend has only continued. Although some of the chains announced in the closure earlier in the year, in many cases the locations are shuttering their doors for good in May and April. And it's funny, they have a hypertension, clogged up veins right in the middle of this, this article. Okay. The retailer included Forever 21, Kohl's, Family Dollar, Walgreens, and Joann's Fabrics. Walgreens is planning on closing 450 stores in 2025, part of a massive string of 1,200 closures that is announced in late 2024, according to US Today. In February, Joann Fabrics, a popular store with crafters, announced that it was closing all 800 plus stores in 49 states after bankruptcy auction. The Akron Beacon Journal reported on March 5th the company disabled purchases on its website. Most of Joann stores will close in May, according to US Today. So these places, 2,500 stores, and these are large stores that have 20 or plus more. Some of them, the bigger ones, 50 employees. All these people are going to be without jobs, from the pharmacists to the clerks, who all have bills and mortgages and rent, and unlawful Title 4D child support. They got issues, student loans. They got all. How are they going to do that? All right. It says, according to 9 News, the last Forever 21 store was expected to close May 1st. That came after a second bankruptcy filing by the clothing company. Altogether, 21 Forever. I guess it's not forever. So Forever 21 is not forever at all. Was closing 354 stores nationwide, U.S. Today reported. After careful deliberation, we have made the decision to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection under Chapter 11 of the U.S. Bankruptcy Code. A notice placed on Forever 21 website says, "We are deeply grateful for the support you may have shown us over the years by rising costs and increased complete competition from abroad may have current business models made our current business models unstable." What made your current business models unstable is the fact that you can't consume your way to wealth. All right, you took all because all these you have a nation of consumers, but you were manufacturing nothing, because this failure is the failure of white males and white men who put these policies in place, and men like this one on the screen who voted for them, who allowed these large companies to move all the factory jobs out of the Americas in the 70s and 80s. And this is the end result. And it allowed America's enemies, which were only enemies because of American policies, by the way, all right, to become the manufacturers and supply anything and everything. And now in order for America to continue to stay great, they have to depend on the very people that they don't like, that they've been ruling over and keeping in the third world category. And now those third world categories have advanced above them. Meanwhile, America's trying to build a new system, digital, while closing out the other and getting rid of the laws, statutes that they used to protect it, the Constitution, and disregarding the Bible, because America is supposed to be a biblically based country, but yet they do everything to get around the Bible. I mean, you can't even bring out, pushing all these, that's another thing, pushing independency of women, pushing the alphabet lifestyles. All these things help, it's messed with the numbers, bringing down, women didn't want to have children anymore. You push this man over the woman power. I mean, every other movie you watch is, I watched a movie last night, and the little blonde chick is beating all the men ass. The white man, the black man, the Arab man, she just beating everybody ass through the whole damn movie. Hand-to-hand combat. Oh, fighting 4 or 5 men at a time. She just beating everybody. I'm like, get the fuck out of here, man. They've pushed these unrealistic scenarios and screw with the minds of the people, so people don't know their roles anymore, and they're all falling apart. All right. So the truth of the matter is, Babylon will not be healed. Okay. Let's go to, let's get that in the scriptures. That's back in Jeremiah. I started there, 49. Uh, 51. Okay. Yeah, Babylon. Yeah, Jeremiah 51 and 8. And 7. Babylon has been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand that had made all the world drunk. You can see when America was on top, when it was, all that consumerism and which made so many billionaires and millionaires, the whole Miami Vice, multiple yachts, multiple mansions, big parties, cocaine, they would, in the streets of gold, all the bright lights in New York on the sides of the buildings that really distract you and hide the decay of the infrastructure. Everybody's is like a Christmas tree. And you're not noticing, and you're so busy looking at all the pretty lights, you're not seeing that the tree is dried up and rotting, that the leaves aren't even growing on it anymore because of all the chemicals being sprayed in the air and in the food and in the water. And by who? So-called white men. White men did this. All right. And the women that support them. America is it's not in the position it is because of Mexican migrants, people south of the border migrants, Chinese migrants, and or the Negroes on welfare. The biggest welfare recipients have been so-called white people, the land of Israel being the biggest and the worst. And also these huge corporations that were sent away, or when they sent all their manufacturing away, they were also the biggest welfare recipients because all the people that were on welfare were spending their money in those stores. So the truth of the matter is these Fortune 500 corporations were receiving that welfare. Yeah, didn't think about it that way. They put these people on it. They created a system of consumerism, and then they give the people and then those people turn around and spend that money right on these same corporations. This was done by white men, so-called white men. There's no such thing. Let's call them what they are, Edomites. So America fell because of its own policy, because of who was in charge. In Daniel, it tells you that he put the basis of men, the lowest of men, over the earth. And look what they've done. America was a paradise. You could walk up to the rivers in the streams in America and put your hand in it and drink from it. You cannot do that in the majority of them anymore. Because of who? Not because of the people that were here already, not because of so-called black people, because of white males, because of Edomite males, and all the chemicals and forever chemicals that were made by these billionaires that pushed all this consumerism, that then took all the companies overseas and left you without jobs while polluting your water, polluting your air, and destroying your food and feeding you chemicals, making you fat, making you sick, clogging up your arteries, metals all in your body, plastics in your body, your rods broken. All right. The women are hard for them to get pregnant. They fucked this place up. All right. And it's time for them to go. Jeremiah 51 and 7. Babylon have been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore the nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take balm for her pain. If so, she may have been healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go everyone into his own country, for their judgments reaches unto the heaven, and is lifted up even in the skies. And now is beautiful because even the land of Israel is on fire from the Lord. All right. Jerusalem is on fire. What happened to dwelling in peace and safety alone? Lord's will. I'm going to do a lesson on that and showing you that what's going on with that right now. Okay, with all the murder and genocide that they've been doing, and the biggest recipients of the wealthy in America has been them. All right, so it's over for Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. It's over for Babylon, and it's going to get very bloody and very violent and very crazy here soon. All right, because Esau knows it is over, so he's going to come down with great wrath, trying to lock up and imprison and kill all those who speak against his system, because he's trying to set his system up. And the moment he sets it up, the Lord returns. He's not going to allow him to do that. And then once you go ahead and start putting your hands on the prophets, because this is going to be different this time. For you 2/3 ass niggas and spiggers out there too. It's going to, you just don't get to do what you want to the prophets as you did to them in past times. This time is going to be different when you put your hands on them. All right. Now, I believe, truthfully, that's why Esau's been hesitant, because he knows that. So with that, I'm going to give all praises, all honor and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah, Quadash, Kwam, Yasharallah, Abad, Babal.